West Coast, y'all.
West.
Welcome to Fantasy
Put 'em
Top
up.
5. Put them up. Put up your W's. There it is.
All right, we're all about the West Coast
We
this
are.
week.
If you're on the East Coast, get out of here. No,
we
not
ha-
really. You can keep listening. We like people from all coasts listening to our podcast. But
The North Coast, the South Coast,
the Middle Coast.
mainly the Middle Coast.
Yeah, many of those people in the Middle Coast.
Yeah, the coast of the Great Salt Lake, the coast of. I live near Salt Lake, so that's,
That's
the only
true.
reason I was able to pull out any lake coast.
There are lakes. If you live next to a lake, that's
Yeah.
that's not a coast at all. But
Lake
yeah,
Erie
it's
coast.
what?
All right, let's move past my Middle Coast, Nick.
But yeah, it's Monday was the AFC West game, which was epic, and tonight is the NFC West game.
Yeah, which should be
Blank there.
just as epic, but maybe I don't think there'll be quite the choke job in this game because I don't think either team
that's
will get
pretty
up by
hard.
24 points.
I think that's pretty hard to do in
Yeah.
general. I don't think that will happen again for a while. Like that.
Yeah,
Phillip
Phillip Rivers
Rivers,
is
yeah.
an impressive
He
athlete.
outdid himself with
Yeah.
this one. He awful,
And it's no
awful.
surprise, really. He's Phillip Rivers. Almost every person is like, elite quarterback. Phillip Rivers.
Constantly.
He's elite when it comes to yelling at his other teammates.
and crying like a little
Yeah,
baby. He's
he's
elite
awful.
in those two things. Yeah, I don't know why. Like you picked him up this year, and I was like,
I traded him away. I got Tony Romo, and Tony Romo's. That's the thing is
Better
I'm
than
I'm dumb in
Rivers.
the other sense because think Tony Romo is a lot better. Every time he has an interception, it's like you couldn't catch it, Ogletree. It's just gonna bounce off your chest and go up in the air there. Or like occasionally he does bad, but all right, it's not about Tony Romo right now. It's about West. So yeah, Monday night's game was incredible.
yeah, Peyton
Like-
Manning is.
And I tweeted,
Oh my
and we tweeted
gosh.
out during the game. Yeah, Peyton Manning looked vintage Peyton Manning at the end.
I knew he was this year. I had faith. That's why I have him in both leagues. That's why I continually
He
keep
looked
talking
good.
about him. But yeah, and then the Chargers just look awful, like always. So
Ryan Matthews is healthy after 2 games, which
And he
is
looked
saying
good.
something. Yeah,
he did look. He had some good runs, and I'm like, okay, he's
And that's the thing
starting.
is they
Finally
get-
starting to change my mind. So
they
which is
get
good.
Brown back soon and stuff. Like they have some stuff in the works, but it's just on a time when it seemed like all that Phillip Rivers was waiting for was Antonio Gates to come back and do well, and their defense to do well.
Which
It
Gates has
all
looked
happened.
pretty decent.
Gates was great that game. He was another
Yeah.
one tied in last week, or not last week, but yeah, last week. Sorry, I get confused sometimes. But that all happened, and Rivers still managed to find a way to throw it away, and not taking anything away from Denver's defense. They looked great, but we saw how they've looked the last couple weeks against actual elite quarterbacks, and it was a little bit different story. So,
Yeah, it was crazy.
it's.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then tonight, I think will be a really good NFC West matchup, which I think will be really good. I'm hoping both teams lose tonight, so the Rams can move up a little bit.
yeah, and I'm
that's
sure
kinda
they
what
both
I'm
will.
going for.
They won't tie, but they will both lose.
I think they'll both lose. That's what I'm going for. And then you think the Raiders are going to do pretty good now after that game as well.
Oh yeah,
so.
yeah. I forgot to mention that. Here's the thing: it comes with being a Raiders fan for years and years and years, and getting in your head that they're always in it. Because it's like, yeah, they've only won 1 game so far, but the Chiefs are basically out of it. They've looked awful and only won 1 game, and the Raiders have been in games. They almost won the Falcons, and so now it's like, now that the team that had the worst record won, the team that had the better record, it's a little more even. So the Raiders are only a couple games behind, and that's the thing is that I know all the teams in the AFC West basically play the same teams, but the Raiders have got an okay schedule coming up.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, and that's the thing is I don't know. I think they're going to be good, and in a couple weeks when I'm weeping and I can't even do the podcast, I'm crying so much, you'll understand why.
I don't feel the same way about the Rams. I did get this awesome Rams shirt. Anyone who's watching or anything can see that I love my new shirt. It
Looks good. Looks good on you.
It's got a Ram on it because I'm a Rams fan. But so yeah, we'll go ahead and get started with the newses and bruises.
Oh, really quick before we jump all the way
we
into
need
it,
to talk about
we're at Fantasy Top 5.
On
If you
Twitter.
don't know, I'm assuming you probably do, but yeah, we're at Fantasy Top 5 on Twitter, www.fantasytop5.com.
is our website.
Yeah, you can jump on there. It has
We have
all
a
our
poll.
stuff. Yeah, we have a poll up right now about which 1 and 5 team will have the better the better, well, has the best chance of making the playoffs.
I need to go vote on that. I haven't voted yet.
Yeah, I haven't voted either. But
we have a Facebook, a Tumblr, and like I just said, we're live on Justin TV. You can come on an hour before the Monday and an hour before the Thursday night game and check us out, ask us questions, chat with us, all that kind of stuff. It's a blast. You can see our pretty faces. And yeah, tweet us your questions. We love answering them on the show and off the show.
yeah, so we've got a few people that send us a question pretty regularly. So yeah, just any questions, we'll answer them.
We think we're pretty knowledgeable. So newses and bruises, top 5 news stories and top 5 injuries. There's a lot of injuries, so they're kind of creeping into the news stories. And my number 1 news story initially was about the Peyton Manning and Chargers blowout, but then I had to take it off because I got news that Tim Tebow may start at running back for the Jets. So that one got thrown right out the door. I threw it away and I said, this is my number 1 news story, and here it is. With the injuries to Powell and McKnight, which probably, I don't know if either of them are going to play, Tim Tebow may be the starting running back.
Which would be crazy. That kind of, it's one of those things that opens it up for all kinds of ridiculous plays. Because you can do a pitch, he can pull it up and pass it. Like, really, they should be using him at running back. Maybe not running back, but the thing is they look at it right now from what I can see. They have those, like the punts, they put him in so people don't know what they're doing on punts. They've tried him at a couple other positions. But I think with all the injuries they've had, he should be on the field, not at quarterback, but sometimes in the wildcat
I like tight
thing.
end.
Yeah, but he should be in doing something
He
like
looks
half
like a
the
tight
time
end.
because him being in there confuses the defense to start
Mhm.
with. Because if you have a guy like that on the field, you assume they're going to try to go to him. They have almost all the time. And that's the thing is the Patriots aren't as bad as they looked on Sunday. Like, they're not going to just go easily for the Jets like the Colts did. The Colts have a rookie quarterback. He's still learning. Rookies have that crazy game a couple times a year. But
Yeah.
so I think this is genius. Like, Tim Tebow should be getting on the field. You picked him up for a reason. Like, get him out there and play him with Sanchez. Get them both in the mix.
Well, and he said, yeah, I guess they haven't ran any plays. They haven't really tried anything out. So it may not happen. It's more of a might, but it's a pretty big story in my book. My number 2 is all Ravens. Apparently, Reed said on Wednesday that he has a torn labrum in his shoulder, but he's been playing anyway,
Yeah.
which is brutal.
He's Reed, though. That's Reed's game. He's always hurt, and he's always playing through it.
Yeah, and so at least they still have him. Also, the Ravens place Ray Lewis on injured reserve.
With a chance of coming back, right?
With a chance of coming back. I feel like it wouldn't be any earlier than the Super Bowl, but it's kind of awesome that they decided to do that. I mean, just to
Yeah.
give him that chance, and maybe it'll push him to make it to the Super Bowl so he can play. And number 3 is Suggs says that he wants to play this Sunday against the Texans,
Yeah, and it looked like...
which is insane.
I don't know what he's planning on playing, because I saw on SportsCenter earlier, I was eating my lunch, and he's throwing the ball
Yeah,
around.
I saw that.
Playing quarterback. I don't know what he was doing.
Didn't look
but
like a good throw, but
yeah, it was an awful throw. But
But,
he had some good moves. The fake handoff was there.
I saw
that.
that.
Was solid.
and maybe that's what he's been doing. Maybe he's actually been just practicing the quarterback, and so he's like, Flacco, you take my spot. I'm going to take your spot, and we'll see how that works.
Flacco's making midfield tackles.
Yeah.
Just open field tackles. That'd be
Just
awesome.
sacking people. And Suggs is throwing the ball like awful. I think the Ravens can make the Super Bowl doing that. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Give it a shot.
So some crazy news there. My number 3 is all Chiefs. The main news story is Dwayne Bowe says he wants out of Kansas City. He says he wants to leave the team, go somewhere else.
Why?
I don't know. They're pretty good.
They
I
looked
mean,
great.
Yeah, I think it just doesn't like how the team looks.
Well, they don't
at
have
all.
a quarterback, and he's proven without having a quarterback, he's basically he's a weaker Larry Fitzgerald, it sounds like. He doesn't have the
Mhm.
talent, but he's like, does have talent, though.
Yeah, he does.
And so he's like,
not
I want to
awful.
go to where there's a quarterback. Like everyone figured Larry Fitzgerald would do, like, as soon as Kurt Warner left, basically.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is, I guess Castle and Quinn are both going to split reps. Castle's back, but he's not all the way back. And then also the general manager, and he's the one that actually brought Castle over, says that the quarterback position is one of many problems. So, I don't know. I mean, I never thought Castle was an awful quarterback. He's never been great, but...
He's exactly Cobb.
Yeah.
There's all this hype, and he gets picked up, and he does nothing. Like they did the
They had
thing.
all that hype
He
coming
had
out
all
of
that-
New England.
Yeah, but New
when
England
he backed up
New
Brady.
England, you can't do bad in that system as
Exactly.
a quarterback. Like Belichick, for one, if you do manage to do bad in it, Belichick will put someone else in. Like he's that kind of old school coach. And for two, when he played there, they've always had weapons, but they pretend like they didn't the last couple of years. But
Yeah.
when he played there, they had serious weapons, and so he looked a lot better than he really was.
Well, it might be kind of like the Flynn thing coming out of Green Bay. I mean, so many weapons there to throw to that he just had that massive
Record-setting game. The
Yeah.
most yards anyone's ever had there.
Which is crazy. And then gets traded and doesn't even get the starting job. So
And he isn't going to now. That one game that Russell just barely had, I feel like he has to do terrible in like 5 games in a row to even consider benching him because of that one hero performance.
So that's quite crazy. My number 4 is injury related. Apparently Fujita on the Browns, his neck injury could end his 11-year career. He's been going through a bunch of stuff with the Saints and the bounty and all that kind of stuff. But they've said that that may be a career-ending injury that he has right now, which
That sucks.
yeah. And I mean he's been in the league 11 years, so
And he's good. But yeah, neck
Yeah,
injuries. He's not Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning isn't assuming he's going to go out there and put himself in harm's way every play. Fujita's a little bit different. He's going to be
because he's on the
hitting
defense. He's hitting
constantly.
people all the time, and so
Mhm.
it's not really fantasy related, but it's definitely a huge news story. And then the other one is Javid Best did not pass his tests, and as a result is out this year. So it's we kind of talked about it on Monday. We didn't know if he'd be back. There was no timetable, and turns out he will not. So
And here's the thing: is he's a young player, and I hate to say it, but I think his career is over. Like he's been out for a year, he still can't pass. I respect what the Lions are doing; they're sticking behind him, they're letting him go through the motions and trying to not, but they don't want him going out there and getting himself killed. And a concussion doesn't last a year, especially with the help he's getting with it every day. So I don't know. It'd be surprising if he does come back, if he has an even relatively productive season ever again. Like I don't know. I don't
it's
see
scary.
that happening.
It's quite scary. My number 5 news story, which, like I said last time, I always try to make it something kind of funny, and apparently, it always seems to be about the Browns. I don't know why, but apparently,
A funny team.
They are funny too. And this one's actually about politics, which we don't actually get into a lot of politics on this podcast as well. But apparently, Paul Ryan, the vice presidential running mate, talks about Whedon and the great college career that he had, and all this stuff, and the whole time he's pointing at Colt McCoy. And they're like, and he's like, oh, well, you guys both have a helmet on, so it's hard to tell who's who.
No, it really isn't. Whedon's a lot of things. He's not a handsome guy. McCoy's kind of a pretty boy.
Yeah,
You can
he's
tell the
young,
difference
kind of
between the two of
pretty.
them, yeah.
Whedon's kind of older, and
Yeah, Whedon's got full head of luscious gray hair. No, not really.
it's 129 years old. I don't know how you mistake the two of
Yeah,
them.
it's insane. He uses a cane off the field.
So we'll go through the bruises really quick. Number 1 is Kevin Cobb again. Expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with his rib injury. Apparently his ribs got separated from his sternum, which is...
My God.
There's been some injuries that are kind of crazy. It kind of scares me. I
And it sucks because
kind of scared watching the game, actually.
yeah, it's one of those things that you talk to people and it's like, Cobb's doing good. Oh no, Skelton's doing good. Oh, Cobb's doing good. Skelton's doing good. And hurt, injured, all this, and they just can't do it. They can't do both. If they're doing good, they're injured. If they're doing bad, they're playing. Like it's really bad for Arizona, but
They're like, oh,
don't
he's
know.
finally doing good. Injury.
yeah.
And so Skelton will be the starting quarterback during those 6 to 8 weeks. And once he starts playing well, then
It's good for you. Yeah, it's good for your boys.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, really good.
My number 2 will go through a bunch of injuries. Like I said, there were so many. DeMarco Murray's out, Locker's out, Cobb is out, Donald Brown and Polamalu are out. Greg Jennings, Pierre Garçon look like they won't play. My number 3, Aaron Rodgers was extremely limited in practice and is on the Green Bay injury report with a calf injury, which also looks really good for my boys.
Yeah, it does.
I think I'm not looking too much into it. I think he's probably fine.
He'll
But
play through that injury. He tried to stay on the field at the end of the game, I feel like, with that. So
the Rams may get to him more than
Yeah.
they would in a normal game if he can't move a whole lot with the calf injury. The
yeah, and they're
Rams
still going to
may.
be working on that running game too. So it should be an interesting game. But one real quick thing I wanted to say about Pierre Garçon, but you kind of went past it really quick. Garçon doesn't have a timetable for his recovery. Like, he's kind of just up in the air right now, and that doesn't look good at all. Like, that seems like it'll be at least a few weeks.
He wants back out there, but they're saying no.
Yeah, so I guess we'll kind of see what happens with that. But maybe look for someone to go in for him.
Yeah, and there are some people out there. We talked about him on the Monday podcast. My number 4 is Richard Mendenhall and Isaac Redmond both missed practice today. So there's a good chance neither of them will go, and I don't know who to even pick up. I mean, I don't think I would recommend really any of the backups they have.
Yeah. If you can
Dwyer
if you
and
can get
Batch.
other teams people that they have, Felix Jones might be good this.
Yeah.
Well, Felix Jones will be good this week, I think. Green from the Packers may be good.
Yeah, Alex Green got the starting job.
Powell from the Cardinals may be good.
Maybe.
Pick up Tim Tebow and play him. No, I don't know. You probably can't play him as running back, but I don't know. Just that's rough because it's going to be one of those ones that comes down to the wire. Probably you won't know if either of those guys will play until I would bet at least Sunday morning.
It would be weird if Tebow actually did end up with just a ton of points because they actually decided to use him as a running back. So he got a bunch of yards, maybe threw the ball once, so got some yards there, and then maybe like ran in a touchdown. That would be insane.
It'd be awesome though.
So if you can pick up Tebow, that's about it. If you can, just maybe don't. My number 5 and last one is Jimmy Graham sat out practice yesterday with an ankle injury, which that ankle injury looked painful if anybody watched it. But he did practice today, so keep an eye on it. And then there's, a lot more injuries, so I didn't even get through a lot of them. I didn't even get through all the news stories either. There's a lot of news stories with the Browns and their organization switching presidents and all sorts of stuff. But
a
lot of stuff today.
Yeah,
so there it is.
It's been a crazy first, barely third of the season, I guess. It's been insane so far with all the injuries, all the switches. I don't know. It's insane. All the people that aren't doing good, even though people put up stuff to get them. It's just insane. Now we're going to move over to my drop-offs and bounce-backs. And my first drop-off of the week is actually playing in tonight's game. And it's Russell Wilson. He had the best game of his career by far last week. He threw for almost 300 yards, had 3 touchdowns, and like we talked about on Monday, he led his team back in a great fashion. Like, he looked great out there.
14 points.
Yeah, he was making plays. And quick secret, the 49ers are not on the same level as the Patriots defense. 49ers aren't going to leave Sidney Rice open in the end zone at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson's going to be, but it's good because this will be a good chance for the organization, the Seahawks organization, to see kind of what Wilson's made of and see him out there run and see how he does against one of the top level defenses, and it'll maybe help him see what he's going to be like going forward. So I think it's good for him, but I don't think he has anywhere near the game he had last week. And if you can, I would start someone over him. And I don't know too many people that are starting him, even in deeper leagues. He's probably just a pick they picked up to see what happened. So if that's the case, start your other guy unless he's on bye, and then I guess you don't really have a choice.
That's the hard thing with both of these teams, actually, is you can't really start a whole lot except for the defense on both of these, which is really...
And even that could get crazy. Like, say there's 2 defensive touchdowns each in the game, it kind of cancels itself out because they're still scoring. It's going to be a messy,
I guess you have Vernon
messy
Davis,
game.
Gore's a starter, you have Lynch, but still, for the most part, there's not really a whole lot.
The only guy I would start unless that's the thing is Bradshaw did well against them against 49ers last week, but it's like even if I had Lynch or Vernon Davis is really the only guy I'd feel comfortable starting. Lynch, you have to. I feel like most people who have picked up Lynch, they have to play him, but it's like, oh, kill me. Like, this sucks.
Especially, with this defense.
Yeah, and then the same thing with the 49ers running back. Gore, yeah, just blanked. Frank Gore, yeah, he's not getting as many carries. Like, I feel less okay with starting him than Lynch.
Yeah, I do too.
But it's a game that's going to be. Me and Eric talked about it earlier. Like, it's going to be possibly the hardest hitting game of all time. Like literally, it's going to be insane. It's going to be so defensive. But that's the thing is, it can still be high scoring because I think there's going to be so many crazy plays in it. Like, I don't know. It's. I think it's going to be awesome. And it's a cool. It's an in division battle, so they're always more pumped up for it. It's a night game, so yeah, it's going to be good. All right, but moving to my second drop off of the week, we have Sean Green, who had 161 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Colts last week, and Green.
An incredible game.
Yeah, he had an awesome game. And weirdly, he had a Green game, which isn't saying Green's great, but it is saying that this is what he does. He has a couple games this season where he looks like a legitimate running back. And this week he's going against the Patriots, who are a lot better than they were last year. A lot of people, I think, still look at the Patriots like they're a terrible defense. And they're really not. Like you can burn them if you find enough time to throw it deep occasionally. But
they look a lot better.
Yeah, and on that note, too, I actually had my wife pick up the Patriots defense today because she has the Philadelphia defense, and they're on a bye. And I think the Jets looked good last week, but I think they're still figuring stuff out. Like, they have only young guys. They are down to only Sean Green and Tim Tebow, I guess, at running back. So
they've lost.
It's going to be It's going to be Rex Ryan. If he can figure out some ways to confuse them, the Jets can maybe pull out a win. But the Patriots, their defense isn't going to be as easy as the Colts' defense was against them. So if you have Sean Green,
trade him.
Yeah,
we said that on Monday. I put trade.
Yeah, trade him or
when
sit
they
him.
have a good game like that, you can finally get rid of this liability on your team that's just sitting there that maybe someone will want because they had a good game and people know that he's
find a
capable
Jets
of
fan.
it.
Find the Jets fan that's in your league and trade him. Because that's the thing is, if you are a fan of the team and the guy does good, in your head it clicks. There's just this blanket that comes up. It's like, no, they're great. Like Eric, when Steven Jackson has a breakout game, he'll be like, yeah, Steven Jackson, he's number one running back again.
I can't drop him. I still have him on my team. I don't play him.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's brutal. I can't get myself to drop him. I even wanted to pick up Felix Jones today.
And that's the thing that's hard too. Is with
He was the
Sean
only guy I
Green,
could drop.
with Sean Green, he still could have a usable game because there's so few running backs there. But still, I wouldn't rely on him this week.
I wouldn't either.
All right, then my number 3 drop-off of the week is Matt Stafford, who he led the Lions to an impressive comeback against the Eagles, which the Eagles are not a bad defense, but he led them back against them and ultimately got the Eagles' defensive coordinator fired. And so...
See, that's a news story I didn't even put in here, which is a pretty... That was one of the major news stories.
There's so much stuff this week.
Like I said, I was cramming 3 and 4 news stories into one if I could. I mean,
it's crazy. And that's the thing is the Bears are the number 1 defense in the league. So that's the thing is you're not going to come... He might still get some garbage time points, but when he makes mistakes against the Bears, it's not going to be like it was against the Eagles. The Bears will take it to the house. They're the number 1 fantasy defense so far this season
against quarterbacks. Yeah, they're only averaging. I have it right here: 7.7 points to quarterback. So if you want 7.7 points from Stafford, go ahead and play him.
And that's the thing is, if you have Stafford, you probably are playing him because you probably don't have any. He's a guy that people picked up like between 4 and 7, probably quarterback in the quarterback range.
Yeah, he's one of the higher ones.
And that's the thing is, I think
it's hard not to play him.
He's still managing to get 300 yards every game. I don't know how he does it, but I guess I do. They don't run ever, and they're not going to be able to run against the Bears either. So still get yards, but 3 or 4 interceptions wouldn't be out of the question. Like the Bears' defense is good.
He'll get you more than 7.7, but he's not going to get you a 20-point game.
Yeah, for sure. And then my 4th drop off of the week is. Miles Austin. Is Miles
Matt
Austin?
Schaub.
No, Matt. Oh yeah, no. Sorry. I just barely. I put Matt Schaub in the wrong spot. That's why I got confused. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Is Miles Austin, who only had 2 catches last week for 31 yards against the Ravens, and he's just. I don't know. He's going up against the Panthers this week, and the Panthers are the Panthers. Like me and Eric constantly talk about how how the Panthers defense is just terrible, and I don't think it's going to change. Like they're gonna, I don't know, they're gonna just leave openings, and I think basically Felix Jones, start him, and I don't love Felix Jones, but I would start him. I would start Miles Austin. I'd start Des Bryant. I'd start Jason Witten. I'd start Tony Romo.
This one your drop-offs, or your?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I am. All
I think you maybe put both of those in the.
Yeah, I confused the heck out of my thing.
Is it down there?
No.
Okay, you just get a lot of
Don't
bounce
worry,
back.
I had 7 bounce backs.
Yeah, let's do it.
So here, really quick, I can jump in. I can do this on the fly right here. Let me see.
You can go the other way around and go Steve Smith. Against
Yeah,
the Dallas corners.
Yeah, Steve Smith. But Steve
I have
Smith's
him in
kind
my
of already been down, but I don't think he's going to get any better.
Or we can just go 7 bounce backs.
Yeah, that's insane.
Nice, let's do it.
Yeah, all right.
7 bounce backs.
All right, well, yeah, Miles Austin's going to bounce back. My heavens. And then, Matt Schwab, I think, is going to bounce back. He only had 232 yards last week. He had 2 interceptions, and I think that was just the Packers finally deciding they needed to make a statement game against someone other than the Bears, because every game they play against the Bears seems like a statement game. And I think Schwab's going to come out and he's going to take advantage of all the losses the Ravens have had on defense.
Yeah, with Webb out, it's going to be.
And I think Arian Foster is going to just do whatever he wants to their defense. They've already let people run all over him. So he's going to come out, and it's just kind of that thing. When Foster's running well, then Schwab is passing well because it takes all the pressure off of him.
And it'd be nice. I need Andre Johnson to have another big game.
Yeah, and then moving from there to my actual bounce backs I have, I'm going to...
I like it. We're mixing stuff up.
It's a positive week. Not a lot of... There's so many teams on bye that
and there's so many injuries. We want to have more positive stuff over here since I already talked about all the negative injury stuff. So we went more bounce backs. Just act like you meant to do it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do it.
No one will know.
Yeah, so
they didn't listen. Just ignore what you've heard for the last little bit.
Yeah, that is insane. But
we can have Lane edit it.
Yeah, I'm going to move from Schwab to Arian Foster, who I was just barely talking about. He only had 29 yards last week. And I actually don't think a lot of people notice this because he still got crazy, not crazy, but good fantasy points.
He always does.
Because he had 2 short yardage touchdowns. And, he needs to be getting more than 29 yards. So I think
that's insane.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out and he's going to, like I said, he's going to run all over the Ravens defense. And that's not because I'm like trying to hate on the Ravens. It's just the losses they've had on defense are huge.
If Suggs is back. He's stopping Foster, though.
Yeah.
With his quarterback passes.
Maybe. And that's the thing is, that Suggs thing is crazy. Like, you don't want to rush him back because...
When I heard that today, I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think... Because they mentioned it. They said, coming back from commercial, we'll talk about Suggs being back. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they got to be smart. You got to look at... They're the number 1 in that division by a ways. Like, and...
Well, the AFC
Suggs is and AFC is awful right now.
I think they have a chance to make it. Apparently, them and the Texans are the only 2 with a winning record, which is insane.
Yeah, the AFC's looked bad.
At least that's how it was on Sunday. It may still be, but yeah. So and then I looked at it, and sure enough, every other team in the AFC has a losing record.
Yeah, the teams have not been playing well, and
it blew my mind.
Well, that's the thing is, so you don't want to rush Suggs back because he's. You look at the Giants last year. Look at the Packers the year before. It's these teams that get healthy at the end and make a push. You got to win the game. The games you're supposed to win.
And if Ray Lewis comes back at the end,
and you got to let people get healthy. And that's the biggest thing. And then
and they have a bye week next week. So I would say maybe take a loss. Sit Suggs. You have a bye week next week. Let him come back healthy. But
no matter what, Suggs will be better in 2 weeks than he will be this week. And then Tim Tebow is my I guess 4th bounce back in this bounce back of 7.
We are fantasy top 7.
Yeah,
today.
Tim Tebow, like we talked about earlier, I think no matter what, he gets more playing time than he has been, just because they're depleted at running back. They're having a hard time getting a lot going on offense. So I think that they're going to come back and they're going to use Tebow. And I think it's going to be good. Like,
I love it when we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Because I took that out just barely, and you were already on it.
Yeah. So, well, that's the thing is, I just think this is the week that Tebow has 10 plus points. Maybe. Like, I could be completely wrong, and it wouldn't surprise me, but I have a feeling they're going to use him more in this game because Ryan's going to pull out all the stops because they can say what they want, like, about the Jets and about the Patriots and try to make it seem like they don't hate them. They hate them. So,
Yes, they do.
yeah, they're going to pull out all the stops. And then my next bounce back is Andrew Luck, who, like we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, had a terrible game last week. And I think this is just part of being a rookie. A team comes out with a great defensive coordinator, a head coach that is focused on defense like Rex Ryan, and he confused them and he made him look like a rookie quarterback. And I think he's gonna grow from it. He's gonna bounce back. And the Browns have been giving up yards to everyone, win or lose.
Yep.
When the Browns they won last week and they still gave up crazy yards, like. Win or lose, they will give up yards. So if you have Andrew Luck, start the guy.
So I'm excited. Peyton Manning's out. I need to start Luck, and I'm glad that it's a good matchup because if it wasn't, then I would be really upset.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy because I get to play Luck, and I'm hoping it works out for me.
You're hoping you get lucky. But all right, the next bounce back we have is another guy on Eric's team. Eric's whole team's in a bounce back.
It's all going to bounce. Yeah, because I lost both.
Yeah,
it was brutal.
And this one is Trent Richardson, who only had 37 yards on 14 carries.
It looks like he'll play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's going to be wearing a flak jacket, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But he is supposedly going to play. And he's looked great. And the main point I'm going to make on this is he's going up against the Colts defense. The same Colts defense that gave up 3 touchdowns to Sean Green. So
well,
I
Sean
think
Green
T-Rich,
can do it.
yeah, I think T-Rich comes out and I think he dominates the game. So I think that game, and it's been like every Browns game so far. That's like you're like Browns, we don't really care about that. But then it's an exciting game. Every Browns game has been good.
It really has. Yeah, that Browns-Ravens game was really good, and the
Yeah.
one last week, that was really good too.
Yeah, they've all been good. All right, and then my last bounce back, my 100th bounce back of the week is Gronk. Gronk has had 2 weeks in a row without scoring a touchdown or getting over 100 yards. And just like I said last time, the Patriots took a big loss. The way you get back in it is you go to Gronk. He's Gronk. You
Yep.
throw it to Gronk. And so this week...
Aaron Hernandez is great and all, but he ain't no Gronk.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I actually think both of them will have a big game.
I'm all Gronk.
All
Aaron
Gronk all
Hernandez
day.
can go get injured and get out of here.
Oh, that's hurtful.
That's kind of hurtful. That's not true. I really don't. I don't feel that way. I'm just all in on Gronk.
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah,
man.
Gronk is awesome. And that's the thing is the Jets.
He is
The
sexy.
Jets are strong against receivers, but they're not strong against tight ends. So I think Gronk will have a Gronk-like game. I think he has over 100 yards and at least 1 score in this game. And afterwards, you can look for him to be like, "Yo soy fiesta," like he did last year. And I think he's gonna own it. I think he's gonna be the party this week. So yeah, if you got Gronk, you probably are starting him anyways, but for sure start him this week.
Nice. Yeah, I always wonder because you have your drop-offs and bounce-backs, and I have my starter sit, my put-ins and takeouts, and they sometimes end up overlapping. But the thing that I like about it is if we both tell you, then that must mean something because we don't look at each other's stuff before we start.
Yeah.
So we'll move over to the top 5 put-ins and top 5 takeouts, which is my version of starter sit. My number 1 is Luck, like we talked about. I don't know if maybe that's because I want him to have such a good game. But like I said, he's going against Cleveland. They're averaging 20 points. Like Sean said, they're giving up a lot of points to quarterbacks. So, and I think Luck is better than the average quarterback. So I think he'll get more than 20 points. So if you have Luck, and you need him for a bye week like Peyton Manning, like I'm doing, definitely do it. My number 2 is Doug Martin, versus the New Orleans Saints.
I like Doug Martin.
Yeah, he has looked incredible. And last week, just the Buccaneers in general looked incredible. So, and the Saints defense are giving up the most fantasy points to running backs. So he definitely has an extremely favorable matchup as well. My number 3 is pretty much every Giants wide receiver. I think they're all going to have good games.
Yeah, Washington's defensive backfield's awful.
Yeah, once again, team that's giving up the most fantasy points to wide receivers. And the Giants' offense has just looked really good. I think Cruz is going to have a big game. I think Hickson will have a good game. I think Nick's maybe back.
He was back last week, and
but didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's one of those things that hard to say with the guy, but I think this week, if he plays, he'll be good.
He'll have
like
a
you
good
said.
game. Yeah, the matchup is just too favorable, I think, especially for Cruz and Knicks. So play your Giants wide receivers. My number 4 is Scott Chandler. They're going up against Tennessee, and I talked about this last Thursday with the Thursday night game, and Heath Miller didn't have the game that I thought he was going to.
He was still top
He had a
5,
10-point
though.
game. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good, but with how awful Tennessee is against tight ends, and they still are. They're still the worst, giving up most touchdowns, pretty much everything. So
Yeah, you don't fix that in 1 week. So.
you don't.
Yeah.
So if you can pick up Scott Chandler, like I had to do, go ahead and play him. And my number 5 is the Bears defense against Detroit. I think that they're going to get 20. I don't think Stafford's going to look good at all. As much as I want to think he's going to, I just think it's going to be brutal. The other thing is defenses against the Lions are already averaging 12 points. So the Bears, most teams are averaging 12, and the Bears are a lot better than most average defenses.
And he throws picks. Like, even when he has a good game, he throws a couple picks. So, yeah.
So I think the Bears D could get you 20-plus points quite easily. My number 1 takeout is Matt Stafford. Going right along with that, Chicago is allowing the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks with 7 points, like we talked about earlier. My number 2 is any Cardinals running back. I don't even know. I think William Powell is the guy there. It's kind of depressing because I do like the guy, and I own him, and you own him.
Yeah.
But against Minnesota, it's just not a very good matchup. A lot of these, they just kind of worked out that Minnesota's allowing the fewest fantasy
And
points
this is
to
hard
running
with
back,
all the
so.
hard matchups on a week where there's 6 buys. Like, it makes your fantasy team difficult to.
But then there are
work
some
with.
really good matchups. This seemed to be one of those weeks that it seemed like the last few, it's kind of been like, okay, well, this guy, along with the matchup, should be pretty good. And this one was like, this guy with the matchup, play him no matter what. And a lot of these are kind of a little bit more. I didn't go with the typical guys. I didn't want to. So my number 3 is Steve Smith, which I talked about earlier. Those Dallas corners are just insane. They're just not allowing anything. So I don't think Steve Smith is going to have a good game, as much as I think Cam Newton could have an okay game.
Yeah, I think he will have to have an okay game if they want to stay in it at all. But Cam's been sad this year.
I'm hoping Cam runs a lot and maybe checks down to the tight end quite a bit.
Yeah, he'll have to do something.
But Steve Smith's not going to have a very good game, so he's going to have to figure something out, and hopefully Cam, I'm hoping he runs in some touchdowns. My number 4 is Jermichael Finley, who's just been absolutely awful. And he's going against the Rams, which are the 7th best defense against tight ends, only averaging 6 points. And Jermichael Finley's just not been very good at all. So.
He's been hard to watch this year.
And the Rams D has looked really good, so
Yeah, they have.
it's kind of been really crazy. And my number 5 is the Jets defense against New England. They had a pretty good week last week, but I think against New England, I think they're just going to look brutal. I think, like we talked about, I think Tom Brady's going to throw all over them. And
I think Gronk Hernandez. Like, I think it's going to be like that. It's going to just be back and forth between those two guys.
I like that.
Yeah, it'll turn into a nice song by then.
nice little song, yeah. We'll just all be singing it while watching the game. Gronk Hernandez.
Gronk Hernandez.
Gronk
Hernandez. Gronk Hernandez. Welker Gronk Hernandez. That's the official theme song of the Patriots.
That's their new official theme song. We're taking that snippet out of the podcast. We're shipping it off to New England.
You'll hear it in the stadium this week. If you're there, listen for it.
Oh my gosh, I can't do the podcast anymore. That was too funny.
Well, see you guys.
So there it is. Starter sit. I was going to put some honorable mentions in here because I actually started building a list of people that, there were a lot of really good starts and really good sits. And
there's a lot of obvious ones. So I think you took the ones that weren't as obvious. So I think it's a good list. Like, there's a lot of obvious guys.
yeah, I was going to put in like Fitzpatrick is also a play this week. Like I said, I don't trust him against good defenses, but he's not going up against one. And then I was also going to put that if you needed someone, you could also put in LeGarrette Blount along with Doug Martin. I kind of did some, but then I took them all out.
Yeah, well, you did some.
So there we go.
All right.
I just gave them to you.
Yeah, all right. Moving on to the top 5 games of Week 7. And that actually,
Nice.
I'm going to roll with the punches here. I'm going to say I had a special Week 7 top 7 bounce backs is why I did that earlier. Like I didn't mention it before, but yeah, so that's why it was 7.
Nice.
Yeah, all right.
Because of week 7?
Yeah, because of Week 7. And
Nice.
it's lucky number 7 in the bounce
Lucky
back
number
area.
7.
And then, all right, so the first game of the week is tonight, like we talked about a bit
Oh.
earlier. Seahawks and the 49ers. I think it's going to
That's
be
tonight.
yeah, and I think it's going to be an intense defensive battle. I think it's going to be fun as hell to watch. Like if you get the chance to sit down and watch it, do it. It's going to be a good game. But and that's the thing is the 49ers got their asses handed to them last week. The Giants came in and made a statement that they are still a very solid team. And that was the thing. It was in San Francisco too, which was crazy. And the Seahawks won the Patriots, which is also kind of making a statement like, hey, we're someone to be looked at. But saying all that, I don't think the 49ers are going to lose 2 in a row at home. So I'm going to pick the 49ers. Who do you think, Eric?
I agree. I think the 49ers are going to want to come back and play a really good game. And I think the Seahawks maybe a little bit too cocky coming into it. And I'm just saying stuff. But I agree.
Fun game.
I don't think the Seahawks are going to come back and win it. I honestly could almost see the Seahawks getting beat by a lot.
Could happen. Definitely could happen.
So I'm going to go 49ers.
All right, what do you think, Lane?
I've been impressed by the Seahawks, but I have to agree with the 49ers winning it.
All right, we're all going 49ers in this one. All right, and the second game of the week is the early game Sunday, the Ravens at the Texans. And this game is going to be interesting because the Ravens lost 2 of their main defensive guys in Ray Lewis and Ladarius Webb. But at the same time, the Texans have lost Brian Cushing. So there's a lot of injuries just in that game. And that's the thing is, like I said last week, a lot of people looked at this as this could easily be the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people are still looking at it that way. They could still get people back at the end of the season. I think Harbaugh is a good enough coach that he will fill the gaps. I don't think they'll be quite ready this week. I think if they play Suggs in this game, they're kind of dumb. I don't think they win this game. I think the Texans win this game just based on all the shit that happened to the Ravens last week. I don't think the Ravens will be ready yet. But I think it'll be close, but I think the Texans are going to win. What do you think, Eric?
And the Texans did just have a beatdown that, like I said, teams do want to come back after a loss like that and actually show that they're... And it's at the Texans as well.
And that's another thing. Really, Flacco does awesome at home, awful on the road.
Yeah, Flacco does not play well on the road. So all these factors are just factoring up to the fact that I think the Ravens are going to be 5-2. I can't see them winning this game, which is so depressing. But I love both these teams. So two of my favorite teams.
What do you think, Lane? Texans or
Yeah,
Ravens?
I'm the same. I think the Ravens are on a downward spiral. Hopefully they can pull back up out of it, but that's not this game this week. I think the Texans have it.
All right.
Just a brutal game after those
Yeah.
injuries to come back to this.
Yeah, it will be
But then they
rough.
have the bye, so...
And then, all right, the third game of the week, the late game on well, not the late game, the second game on Sunday, the Jets at the Patriots. And we've kind of talked about this game a decent amount due to the Tebow and the Gronk and everything. So basically, I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think there's 2 things that will happen. I think the Patriots will either come out and just it's at Foxborough, by the way, and they will just destroy the Jets in front of their home crowd, or it will be a really close game, and they'll barely win the Jets. I don't think the Jets are going to win this game. I don't, but hopefully they keep it close. I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one. What do you think, Eric?
Me too. Is this going to be another one of those weeks where we all just pick the exact same teams?
I don't know. Depends on if you still like the Steelers.
Or the Lions?
So you taking the Patriots?
I hate the Patriots. I'm taking the Jets.
Nice. There it is. Tebow's going to lead a comeback.
Yeah. What?
That would be awesome.
It would be. That's the thing is, in
would
my
love
head, as a Patriot hater, I would be rooting for that. I just have to go with who I think is going to win. I think the Patriots are going to win.
I agree. I think the Patriots are looking stronger, but I'm still
Nice.
going Jets.
All right, awesome. All right, and the fourth game of the week, the Sunday night game, is the Steelers at Bengals. A nice divisional battle, and like we talked about
a
earlier,
lot of divisional battles.
Yeah, there has, and they're all good, and I like that. But the Steelers still don't know if they have either of their top two running backs back.
Mm-hmm.
Their line looks like hell.
They're out Palomalo and
Woodley.
yeah, Woodley might not play.
Yeah, so it's looking rough for them, and I think
And the Bengals have an offense.
yeah they have an offense, and they actually don't have a terrible defense.
Yeah, they don't.
So I think that since it's in Cincinnati, I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think they're a better team than the Steelers are. This Sunday, I think they're a better team. I think all in all, it'll be close. The Steelers will bounce back. They don't stay down for long. But I think right now the Bengals are a better team.
Yeah, I may go home games on all of these, which is also Bengals. I just think, yeah, Andy Dalton is an insane quarterback, and A.J. Green has just been unstoppable.
Yeah, that's true.
They have a really good running back.
He hasn't looked great lately, but
With Green Ellis, yeah, but
either way, they have
And-
A.J. Green. And they have a good supporting cast, actually.
and the Steelers' injuries are going to hurt them.
Yeah.
So I think the Bengals take this one as well.
What do you think, Olaney?
I really don't know what to go here because I don't really know what's up with either team, but I'm going to go the Bengals as well just because they're tigers. They're cool. They're cooler. They're not stealing. They're hunting prey.
All right. So we're all going with the Bengals on that one. And then we have our last game of the week, the Monday night game, Lions at Bears. And I think me and Eric have got our point across with how we think the Lions are going to do in this game.
Yeah.
I think it may end up being closer than either one of us were talking like, but I think the Bears come out and they have a statement victory in this game.
I'm afraid
So
the
I'm taking
Lions
the
just
Bears.
look awful.
Yeah.
I'm definitely afraid of it.
Always Bears all the time. Bears. The Bears.
So I'm
Looks
going
like
Bears as
we're-
well.
Yeah, it looks like we're all going Bears on that one. And that's the thing too, is a quick point on this game. I think the Lions are playing down this year. Like they haven't looked great. They have some talent there. Nate Burleson has been trying to step up. Pettigrew is there. He should be doing better than he is.
Mhm.
Their main issue is at running back, and I don't think Mikel Lashore will get on track in this game, but I do think he will eventually get on track. So I think they're going to end better than they are right now, but I just think in this game, yeah, it's too much for them.
I agree.
Yeah, so
So there it is, our games of the week. We usually end the show. We have about 10 minutes. We may end this one a little bit early with the questions. We did get one on Twitter.
yeah, we have a nice question on Twitter. If I can get it to move over here, I can look at it. Because I don't remember all the players he was asking about. So one of our regulars here at Churchboy WSU, our B Hunt, he asked, who should I play at Flex this week? It's a PPR league. He said, Benjarvis Green Ellis versus Pittsburgh, Heath Miller versus Cincinnati, Josh Gordon Josh Gordon, which he didn't say who the Browns are playing, but they're playing the Colts, right? Yeah, against the Colts, or Santana Moss versus the Giants, or Felix Jones
To look at that,
versus
that's a lot of.
Carolina. And I said to go with Felix Jones because I think Carolina's defense looks awful. And without Murray, Felix Jones is going to have a good game. And Felix Jones is one of those guys, he doesn't stay healthy for long. But when he is healthy, and especially when he's healthy and he's going up against a bad defense, he will tend to have good games. So I said play Felix Jones against the terrible Panthers defense this week. As a starter, I think he's going to do well.
And that's the thing is Josh Gordon I do like, but I still don't feel 100% confident about.
I want to see him catch 8 passes and score a touchdown, with the touchdown not being longer than 30 yards. I want to see that he can be a good fantasy option without it all being on one play, because that's kind of fluky. I don't want to be like, yeah, play this guy who's done great 2 weeks in a row just because Whedon's got him the ball deep. Because that's the thing is, I talked about it last on Monday, that he's been good, but he's been good like a receiver. He's been good like a punt returner or something. Like he just makes a big play each game, and it looks like he's doing better than he is. Still like the guy, but yeah, I just think Felix Jones is the safest there. I don't know. You think anyone else on there you would maybe say to start over?
I don't know. I mean, I've kind of been a little bit high on Heath Miller, but not high enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like I would have to agree with you. Let me look at them one more time. So we got Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis,
Who I
Heath
like,
Miller,
but he's down.
Josh Gordon, Santana Moss, or Felix Jones. I would say Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis would be my other choice. I think if I had to pick one, I'd actually probably go with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. But Felix Jones, I think, will have a really good game.
You think
Like I
he'll
said, I
have
want
a-
to find a spot for him. I just don't have one.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's one of those things that's like he's going to be limited in the time that he is playing, and that's the thing too is I think the Cowboys have been dealing with Felix Jones long enough that they know how he is. Like he comes out, he has a couple good games, he gets hurt, whatever. So, and that's the thing is, the only thing that makes me feel a little crazy about it, and maybe like you should think about picking him up, is if you remember last year with McFadden's injury, it started off as a simple foot injury, and that's what they were saying it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is, you're not, as much as you're supposed to keep people updated on it, if there's a loophole and you don't have to tell other teams exactly what you're doing, you're going to use it. And so they could just be saying foot injury, and he could end up being out like 4 or 5 weeks even. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case here. It'd be really crazy to speculate that, but he's already been injured twice in his short career that has missed at least a couple games. So Felix Jones isn't awful to have as basically a handcuff for him if you want to pick him up and then for sure use him this week. Because if you're hurting this week, I think if he has less than 10 points, I think it'll be insane. But I wouldn't expect him to get less than 15. The Carolina's defense is just not impressive to me at all. And he's one of those guys that if you're a bad defense, he'll make you miss. So yeah, I like Felix Jones this week a lot.
All right. We have another question here on Tumblr that is pretty short. It just says, help. Vic on a bye week. Actually, it does give. So Cutler versus Denver or Fitzpatrick versus Tennessee. I think Fitzpatrick, like I said, I think Fitzpatrick is not, if he's going up against any good defense,
Well, really
Buffalo
quick,
just looks awful.
Denver's not playing this week. Oh, it's Cutler versus the Lions. I don't know why he put Denver, but yeah, Denver's on a bye.
Is this from
No, I think
this week?
No,
Yeah,
because you
the
talked
Eagles
about
are-
Fitz against Tennessee. That's right,
Yeah.
and Fick's on a bye. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I was saying what Denver. It kind of just threw me off for a minute. But yeah, I would say those are tough because I love Brandon Marshall and I actually love Cutler, but Tennessee's defense is so bad. But they actually
Yeah, I keep
looked
thinking Denver
okay.
too. Look that up.
But he's playing the Lions. I don't like the Lions, their defensive backfield. But I think you're probably right. You got to go with Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick's one of those guys, like you said earlier. He's one of those guys that when he's playing a terrible D, he does awesome. When he's playing even an okay D, he finds a way to make mistakes. So I think you're probably right. Play Fitzpatrick.
And he definitely has the opportunity. The thing with Fitzpatrick is it's all matchup. He's done this for 2 years now. He did it all last year. If it's a good matchup, he'll put up a 20-point game easy. But
Yeah.
if it's a good defense, he'll throw up a 8 or a 9, and it just kills you because you see that 20-point game and you think that he's going to do it again, and then he doesn't. But Tennessee's a good defense for a quarterback to get a lot of points.
Yeah, I was just confused for a second. I was like, But yeah, it's. Let's see.
And then we got one more. Then we'll go ahead and call it. What do you think of Lynch's matchup, which is today? Should I replace him with Ben Jarvis or Mendenhall? Mendenhall might be out, so you may not have a choice.
Let me see. I would definitely not play him, first of all. And let's see. The Ben Jarvis game is. They're playing each other. So I would wait and see if Mendenhall is playing. If Mendenhall is playing and it looks like he's okay, like you kind of got to go with the fill. I think Mendenhall, if he's 80% healthy, will do better than Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis in this game. But if he doesn't play, I think Green Jarvis. I think both of them will do better than Lynch. Like Lynch is going up against 49ers D. I think he did well against them last year, but they're going to be fired up, and I think the safer bet is to go with either one of those guys. So that's what I would do.
Sounds good. All right. Well, hope everyone enjoys the game tonight.
It should be awesome. It should be a
good.
fun game to watch.
Get out of here and go watch it.
Yeah, we're going to go
Eat some
check
burgers.
it out. Yeah, and drink some beers and whatever. But, yeah, thanks for joining us.
Tweet at us at Fantasy Top 5. We'll answer your questions. Come check us out. Come join us on the show.
Yeah, if you tweet at us or go on our website and ask us a question, we will answer it before Sunday's game. So, yeah, make sure you get those questions in, and we will...
Our podcast is in iTunes, and we just got it into Stitcher as well. So if you have Stitcher, go find us. If you have iTunes, go find us. If you have any of the other podcast apps, we're in most of them, or you can find our feed. Come to our website and check us out.
Yeah, Fantasy Top 5 anywhere, and you can find us. I'm Sean.
And I'm Eric.
Peace.
Out.